began secretly collecting phone records of millions of Americans. Wait for it, wait for it. I don't care. I have nothing to hide. Only if you're doing something wrong should you be
This June, we learned that our private lives are no longer private. The U.S. government is secretly tracking the emails, purchases, text messages, location, and phone calls of people all over the
How do
world.
we balance our need for privacy with our need for security?
In the long twilight struggle against communism, we have been reminded that the very liberties that we sought to preserve could not be sacrificed at the altar of national security.
On May 7, 2015, the Federal Court of Appeals in New York ruled that the National Security Agency's collection of American phone records in bulk is illegal. Specifically, they ruled that the practice did not fall under the scope of the USA Patriot Act, which allows wiretapping of individuals to detect and prevent terrorism. So what is the USA Patriot Act? Well, the USA Patriot Act is a 10-letter acronym for the Uniting and Strengthening America by Providing Appropriate Tools Required to Intercept and Obstruct Terrorism Act of 2001. It was passed swiftly by Congress following the terrorist attacks of September 11th and signed into law by George W. Bush in 2001. Later, when it was set to expire in 2011, Barack Obama renewed the law for another 4 years. The Patriot Act has been the subject of intense controversy. Although it was intended to prevent terrorist attacks, it has been accused of infringing on basic American civil liberties. It allows any law enforcement officials to skirt a U.S. citizen's Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable search and seizure. The Patriot Act grants agencies like the FBI sweeping surveillance power over cell phone data, internet search histories, medical histories, library records, and any tangible thing for suspected terrorists. Critics note that because intelligence can be gathered secretly with little oversight, officials can easily abuse their power and falsely charge innocent people. The Patriot Act also allows for the indefinite detention of anyone, even non-U.S. citizens, without probable cause. The New York court recently ruled against the NSA's mass phone surveillance program because the judges said it would be an unprecedented contraction of the privacy expectations of all Americans. Yet, they also made it clear that if they wanted, Congress would absolutely be able to legalize the NSA's actions by passing new laws to that effect. However, they would not be able to use the Patriot Act in its current form to continue justifying the mass surveillance. The USA Patriot Act is set to expire in June 2015, and Congress is already discussing its renewal. Despite massive opposition from numerous public figures, including senators, celebrities, and whistleblowers like Edward Snowden, President Obama has continued his support for the program. He maintains that there is suitable oversight to potential privacy abuses and that the program has had proven results against terrorist violence. NSA surveillance will continue to be a greatly divisive issue as the population continues to increase its digital footprint.
NSA is not listening to your phone calls, and it's not targeting your emails unless it's getting an individualized court order.
Personally, I think that wiretapping and NSA surveillance is almost a necessary evil. Even though I myself am against the whole idea of it, I understand the purpose for doing so. However, it leaves you the question whether there's a line of privacy that citizens have, whereas whether the government can cross that line. And I feel like this is an issue that's been debated for years and years on end. And privacy is something that doesn't really exist nowadays, and we sort of voluntarily give up that privacy through social media or things of that matter. So, yeah.
America's founders hated oppressive British surveillance and unreasonable search and seizure.
The issue here is independence.
Understanding that privacy was necessary to almost every basic right in our Constitution, they established the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment exists to prevent the government from tracking or searching your personal information unless they have good reason to believe a crime is happening.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal.
Using the NSA, the U.S. government is violating the highest law of the country, the Constitution. Government surveillance has gone on for decades, but things got a lot worse in 2001 when the US Congress passed the Patriot Act, giving secret FISA courts more authority to grant surveillance requests on a large scale. Instead of getting a warrant for an individual person suspected of a crime, the government could now search a large list of persons, even those under no suspicion of criminal activity. FISA courts aren't required to disclose what court orders are being approved, and supporting evidence isn't needed.
Of the 1,789 requests for authorization, one was withdrawn by the government. All the other ones are granted.
It's a rubber stamp.
It's a rubber stamp.
All of this is protected by secrecy, with no system for checks and balances. If the NSA is collecting information on you based on what you read or the websites you go to, you'll likely never know or get to stop it, no matter who you are. Programs like PRISM completely ignore the purpose of warrants while claiming to work within the law. The US government has turned the internet we love into something it was never intended to be, a tool for surveilling everyone. This is the most essential problem. Through these secret courts and secret interpretations of the laws, US government agents can illegally track internet users based on things like keywords.
Analysts who use a system for a web portal at Fort Meade key in selectors or search terms that are designed to produce at least 51% confidence in a target's foreignness.
Data has been collected for years on the most popular websites: Gmail, Facebook, Yahoo, and many more.
Got him at the bottom of the hill.
There's thousands of words that the government tracks. Words like almost any email you send might get your account monitored. This kind of tracking can make you second guess what you say. That's why mass spying is unconstitutional. Abuses are inevitable and data leaks are already happening. Spying on our internet usage gives the government power over our lives. What happens to free speech, free association, or a free press when everyone is under constant surveillance, even in our most private moments? Experts on surveillance, privacy, and intelligence agree on one thing. The NSA, President Bush, and Obama and their secret courts are interpreting multiple laws in a way that most Americans would find shocking. This is allowing the kind of surveillance and collection that the Constitution was not meant to allow. These programs break the law. They violate the Fourth Amendment and they strip us of our privacy. The U.S. Constitution was written to prevent government surveillance programs like PRISM. It's up to us to demand that these ideals be upheld. Help us stop the NSA, restore the Constitution, and keep the world free.
I am against NSA surveillance. You know why? Because they're watching.
Fight back! They say wiretap, we say fight back!
I'm just outraged, like most people here, at the the mass surveillance that's going on, and people just don't seem to be upset about it. It's blatantly unconstitutional.
Over the past several months, we the people have learned so much about the abuses going on and the complete lack of oversight and the mass surveillance into every detail of our lives. And we need to tell Congress that they